Good morning, parents and students. This is Dr. Cox from the counseling office. I have the privilege of serving as the head counselor here at Stone Mountain High School, and I want to share a few things with you with regard to dual enrollment. I'm hoping that this video can be between 15 to 20 minutes, so I'm going to go through things systematically. What I ask is that, of course, you listen to the steps, review the steps, but also make sure you go through the entire process. And then if you have questions, contact me. So, what we'll do is we'll start off with the steps for dual enrollment. I'm going to read through the steps and then I'll go back and explain them as we go along for clarity. The overall process, the steps for dual enrollment include, and this is my detailed process at Stone Mountain. And the reason it's so detailed is because it's supposed to be designed to help you to understand each thing step by step. And then I go into the explanation of each. So, dual enrollment steps include the overall process. Which is very important for parents to know, which is the application process. And I'm going to go through the links to make sure you understand each. Number two, you need to decide or determine if your child will be eligible based on grade level. Three, view the approved dual enrollment participating schools and meet the school's admission qualifications on that school's website, the dual enrollment school's website. Four, be admitted to the dual enrollment school of choice by the deadline. Spring classes, the initial deadline was October 15, 2021. And the extended deadline that I'm setting is October 29, 2021, since, many things have happened with dual enrollment, and I wanted to make sure I've explained the changes. So when I said the extended deadline, that means that the student needs to have been admitted, completed everything that I've discussed, and turned in everything in order for classes to begin or for students to be able to take dual enrollment classes in the spring semester, meaning spring 2022. If anything is missing, students will have to wait till either summer 2022 or fall 2022. And the deadline for submitting everything for summer 2022 or fall 2022 is April 15th. And there's a very good reason for that. Namely, there's a lot of work that goes in the background that I have to do as the dual enrollment coordinator. And I have to have time to ensure that not only are the students enrolled in the classes, but also to ensure that you don't get a bill because students make mistakes. So again, it's very important that the process is followed, and I do stick to the deadline. I did extend it. It's usually October 15th, April 15th, but I did extend the fall deadline for October 29th. Number five, complete the funding application, student parent participation agreement with your parents and submit to Georgia Student Finance Commission. There is a link for you to do this online, and then there's also a paper copy that you'll need to submit to me because we have to have that on file in DeKalb County School District. Number six, there's also a YouTube video on how to complete the funding application for you and your students. It's very easy to follow. People have been using it for years and they say it's great. Also, number seven, choose the dual enrollment classes from the approved dual enrollment directory for your dual enrollment school. Note these are the only classes that will be paid for by Georgia Student Finance Commission, the organization that actually pays for the dual enrollment classes. Number eight, after all of this is done at the top, meet with the dual enrollment coordinator at Stone Mountain High School. That's me. And note, if you do not meet with the dual enrollment coordinator, your classes cannot be paid for. I cannot emphasize this enough. Only approved pay classes can be paid for by Georgia Student Finance Commission. So what happens sometimes, and I'll go into more detail, some students and parents will go out on their own, and you're more than welcome to do that, but there's no guarantee those classes will be paid. There's a process purposely to keep students from choosing classes that cannot be taken at certain universities at certain times. So that's why DeKalb County School District has it set up to where you have to meet with the dual enrollment coordinator in order to ensure that you're on the right track. Also, there's a Stone Mountain High School dual enrollment contract link or QR code that must be completed. And this is the one for spring. 10, complete the attached student parent agreement and return to Dr. Cox. Again, that's the same thing that I referred to in number 5. So I just repeated it. 11, submit a copy of your class schedule to Dr. Cox. And I have a rationale for doing that. And that's namely because students will think that they want to do something. I've submitted the paperwork, or rather, I've gone in to make sure those classes are paid for. Then they decide to change their mind within the time frame. However, I don't know. If I don't know the classes can get paid for, you get a bill. So that's why the deadline and the process are important. Number 12, once this entire process is complete by the deadline, Dr. Cox will approve your courses. So what I tend to do is I'll send out general reminders with this sheet and say, hey, make sure you've done this, this, and this. Again, these are large groups of students. This has to be done for every single student. So again, who participates in dual enrollment. Our numbers are growing again. So again, it is important that you follow the process. And of course, there's a link with frequently asked questions as well. So again, you'll receive this. This will be an attachment in the email that I'm sending. It'll start off with the video, and the video will explain this sheet as well as all of the links. So what I'll do now is I'll go back to what I want to do before we go into, actually go into the process with you. So the first thing I said is that you needed to work on the application. This link is in the video. I'm sorry, in the attachment that you'll receive. But just in case you can't open any of the attachments, I pulled it all from here, directly from the dual enrollment website, which is gafutures.org, or if you Google dual enrollment Georgia, you'll get this website. And all of these are the links that I have within the letter. This tells you about the application process that you must do. First, students have to be admitted into a school for dual enrollment. They have to and complete the funding application I'll talk about later. Also, they have to meet that school's requirements. So the next thing, of course, you want to look at and see is who's eligible. And this tells you the the application steps. I'm sorry. And here is the tutorial video, but I'll get to that part later also. The next thing you want to do is check eligibility. Who is going to be able to take dual enrollment classes? So for clarity, I want to say that 9th through 12th grade students are able to take dual enrollment classes. However, 9th grade classes will not be paid for by Georgia Student Finance Commission. Those will have to be paid for out of pocket by the parent. So I want to make sure we're clear on that part. Also, 10th grade students are only allowed to take classes at what are called technical schools. They can take career technical and agricultural courses, education courses, and I'll go over those in a little bit later. And then 11th and 12th graders are pretty much eligible to take any courses that are in the dual enrollment directory, assuming they qualify for that school's admission. So I want to make that clear again. Even though students are eligible by grade wise, 10th to take CTAE classes, 11th and 12th to take any classes, they must meet the school's definition for admissions, meaning the college, not Stone Mountain High School, the college. So the college, you have to go to that college's website to determine their dual enrollment standards and make sure you have all of that complete. Okay, so the next thing you would want to look at is the schools that are approved. These are the dual enrollment participating institutions that are effective fall year 2022. So these are the schools that dual enrollment will pay for, or Georgia Student Finance Commission will pay for, so that your student can take dual enrollment classes, assuming that they are admitted. And again, I did talk about the deadline being, the extended deadline is October 29th. The next thing you want to do is the parent agreement. This is where they talk to you. We kind of went into that, but this is where they talk to you about the participation agreement. You talk about it's where you and your student discuss, the do's and don'ts of dual enrollment, making sure that, you've met all of the requirements, you understand your roles and responsibilities. You can either do that electronically here, or you can do this with a paper copy here. I'll just quickly try to go to these two. So if you were to complete it online, it would start off asking you a series of questions about your student. If you want to do a paper version, you could print this and make a copy of it also. Also, I usually send this paper copy out because by number 10 on the dual enrollment steps paper, it does tell you that you have to have a copy of this to be retained at the high school. So this is the copy I need. The difference is the copy that I give you, you could actually fill it in as a PDF. So you really don't have to print it. You could actually just go ahead and send it back to me electronically through email as well. Okay, the next step would be the how-to. The how-to video. And the how-to video takes you through the process of completing the application, creating an account for dual enrollment, as well as completing the funding agreement. Because again, I know that this is a lot, but it is a process you have to go through with regard to dual enrollment. And it does help you if you follow this process step by step that I'm giving you and complete by the deadline, you'll be fine and you'll be able to complete what it is you need to do so that you and your student can get started. And I do say you and your student because it does involve the parent. Okay, the next thing you would do once you've been admitted to the school is you and your student would decide or your will decide the classes that they'll be taking. So let's just assume that I'm a 10th grade student and I know that 10th grade students, no matter what their GPA or et cetera, Georgia Student Finance Commission only pays for CTAE electives. And they also know that a student can only take CTAE, take those classes at a technical school. So that means that I would not, in the 10th grade, unless I'm planning to pay for other classes, my student would not be able to go to Georgia State University. They can attend an Albany State, Atlanta Technical College, Atlanta Metropolitan State College, Albany Tech, etc., in 10th grade. Also, know that students can be admitted into more than one school at a time, but that's on a case by case basis. Want to make sure, you'd have to talk to me about that if you're interested in that. Most students don't do that because that gets complicated, but some may decide to do it. So I'll go to a school and show you their course directory. For example, many of our students, this is local, attend Georgia Piedmont Technical College. Okay, so they put in the school, and this is for the 21-22 spring semester that's coming up. Then remember, dual enrollment students in 10th grade who are approved and admitted into a school can only take CTAE courses. So you'd be looking for those areas that say CTAE. If it's not in this directory, even if it's on the school's main website, Georgia Student Finance Commission will not pay for it. It has to be classes that are listed here. So let's just say if I'm interested in automotive, heat, air, and mechanic, I would click on this, hit search, and the classes that the college offers, they come up. So I may be interested in refrigeration. So I'd start off here, refrigeration principles, next systems, HVAC, electrical motors, components, etc. Because I want to learn as much as I possibly can because this is as an adult, these things are expensive and this could be a very lucrative career if you're interested in this. So dual enrollment is a great opportunity to get your feet wet, to see, areas you're interested in. So again, 10th grade students would only click CTAE. Assuming I'm an 11th grade student, even if I'm still at a Georgia Piedmont and I could take, let's just say I want to take math classes, then I would be looking to see what it is that they offer, and I just can't jump in and take whatever. That's the reason that you're discussing this with your dual enrollment coordinator, which is me, Dr. Cox, as well as your advisor at the college who will talk to you about your classes also. So generally, students would start with something like college algebra in the 11th or 12th grade, assuming they've taken the prerequisites to college algebra at the high school. Okay, so the next thing would be to number 8, after you've done steps 1 through 7, you meet with Dr. Cox, and then, of course, I'd review your classes to make sure that you've done everything else that you needed to do. You've been admitted. You show me a copy of your initial schedule that because the university will direct you on how to create your account, how to register your classes. And that's important for you to know also. Not only are you registering for classes, letting me know the classes, you actually have to register for the classes at the college. So make sure that you're doing both. Then the next thing you would do is number 9, you have to complete a Stone Mountain High School contract. This is a Stone Mountain High School requirement because this is the final meeting between me and the students, me and the parents, where we discuss the information, the expectations of dual enrollment. A lot of this is basic demographics, and a lot of it's a reminder. Have you emailed a copy of your schedule to Dr. Cox this school year? Again, remember I said I did that because students will start off saying, "I want to take this." Then by the time the semester starts, or early in the semester, within the time frame that you're allowed to add and drop without penalty, they'll change it. But I don't know. When I go in to get the funding approved, that's it, unless I know differently. If a student changes it, because remember, they're in college now. This is not a Stone Mountain schedule. So I have no way of knowing unless they tell me. So if I don't know, then you're going to get a bill and you're responsible for it. So again, that's why I'm saying make sure you and your student are following, the steps that are kind of laid out. These are the best practices. I know it's a lot. College is a lot. However, navigating dual enrollment and college can be easier. And this does go by faster. When your students start doing this semester after semester, it kind of becomes old hats. Like the veterans of dual enrollment, as I call them, they do this without flinching. They and their parents, they get used to it. It just seems like a lot at first. List your dual enrollment school just in case you've you've changed, because this, remember, dual enrollment does the courses go on your college and your high school transcripts. So if you're taking college algebra, for example, and you take it at Georgia State, then that needs to be on your transcript so that your upcoming college or your upcoming post-secondary institution after graduation will know that you did take college classes and it wasn't just a Stone Mountain class called college algebra. Okay, so then you list your steps, etc. It does talk to you about submitting your paperwork, doing your funding application, also making sure that you register for courses as soon as the registration period proceeds. Be sure to account for adequate travel time between classes when classes are face to face. So remember, a lot of the students have been doing dual enrollment classes online, but if you're doing those face to face, parents, you are responsible for transportation. We do put that in here somewhere. Also, number 15 is kind of self-explanatory. Number 16, very important. Remember, college is not high school. Do not expect your professors to give you reminders and second chances. This is the stuff I discuss with the students. Number 17, very important. Students can only be on Stone Mountain High School's campus during their scheduled course time or before or after school for school activities. This includes the media center. Note this applies when returning to the physical building. Again, when we were online, this was a little bit different because there was no need for us to try to wonder where you were. But if you are scheduled for dual enrollment classes first, second period, that means you are out of the building. No one is here to monitor you. We are not employed by a college. This is public high school. all of our students are expected to be, the times that they're here, they're designated with a Stone Mountain High School teacher, not a dual enrollment teacher. We don't work and coordinate. We don't coordinate with the colleges that way. There was a time when we did that, but we don't do that anymore. Those were students a few years ago, but that's now, we do not have anybody to monitor the students. So remember, it's important that you understand that part. Number 18, dual, and this is very, very important, parents. I really, really need to emphasize this. Dual enrollment students may not drop, add, nor withdraw from a college class without counselor approval. Doing so may jeopardize graduation and or ability to take future dual enrollment courses. They must follow the university deadlines for withdrawals and note that they will be assigned to available courses at Stone Mountain High School. So let me explain what that means. For number 18, there is, when you take college classes, parents, I know many of you have gone to college, so you know there is an add drop period within the first few days of the class where you can add or drop a class without penalty. If that's something you desire to do, I need to know that, because again, remember, I've already approved certain classes to be paid for, but if you add drop within that class time period, I need to know so I can go in and change it and get the other class paid for. So, and as long as it fits in your schedule. Now, let's just say if you withdraw from a class later on, maybe 3 weeks into the class, and you choose to withdraw. Of course, number one, you need to let me know that that's what you want to do, because one, if that's a graduation requirement, you may not be able to, because if you withdraw and we don't have it at Stone Mountain High School, or if it's too late for it to be virtual in DeKalb County School District using Flex, that could hinder graduation. So again, that's why this is important that you do this process. Also, the way Georgia Student Finance Commission has set up dual enrollment, after a student withdraws from two classes, period, no matter what the reason, you can no longer take any dual enrollment classes, or rather, they will no longer fund them. Your parents can pay for them, but Georgia Student Finance Commission will not. So again, add drop period is different than withdrawing. So it's important you talk to your advisor at your school. And as you can see, there are many, many schools. So that's not something I would be familiar with at all, because I don't work for any of the colleges. So make sure that you understand that if there's an add drop period, I still need to know so I can go in and approve your classes. We can discuss if that's feasible for you. Also, if you withdraw from a college class, remember you're only allowed two. After that, Georgia Student Finance Commission no longer pays for your classes. That's important to know, because number 19, all dual enrollment grades will be posted on the Stone Mountain transcript, including failures and withdrawal grades. So it's important that you think about what it is you want to do and do it within the time frame that you're supposed to. Dual enrollment students are expected to report to school on time. You don't get extra time just because you're doing a dual enrollment class. That's why transportation is needed. 21 talks about the limit on dual enrollment classes. And also 22 talks about I understand that the dual enrollment pay for beyond the typical 30 dual enrollment hours may come from my students' Hope Grant scholarship funding. That's for specific situations. So let me clarify 21 and 22. All students who participate in dual enrollment are allowed to take 30 hours without it coming out of their Hope GPA or Hope budget. There are certain programs that you may be interested in, and those may require more than 30 hours, not an associate's degree. Dual enrollment no longer pays for associate degrees in Georgia. However, you may be allowed to take a few extra courses, and that money will come out of your Hope budget or your Hope scholarship money. Why is that important? It's important because, let's just say, if you decide, okay, I'm going to see, I'm interested in a certain area. I need 6 more hours out of my Hope money scholarship. That money comes out of that. So let's just say then you decide to go to Georgia State. You're in your senior year and you run out of Hope scholarship money. You're like, wait, why do I have to pay for this? I get Hope. Then we go back to, oh, you use some of that money. So that's why you have to be advised about this, because the high school is supposed to advise you, and we don't want to be responsible and not tell you, and then you use your money, run out of money, and then you're expected to pay from college in your senior year. Okay, and also a few other things that you can go over. So I know parents and students, this is a lot. I did promise you a 15 to 20-minute video. I am going to say this overall ends the video. If you want to stop at this point, that's fine. But if not, you can go on to listen to my last part, which talks about the benefits, about overall what dual enrollment is and what it is not. Okay. So, um, what is dual enrollment overall? I know this seems like it should have come at the beginning, but I didn't want to waste anyone's time. I wanted to get down to what I had to because many of you know this already. But dual enrollment is Georgia's program that provides students enrolled at an eligible public or private high school or home study program in Georgia the opportunity to earn high school and college credits at a participating eligible post-secondary institution in Georgia, and I showed you those. Georgia's dual enrollment program offers students the opportunity to experience college courses and begin their college academic career while still in high school and provides for standard tuition, mandatory fees, and required books. The program is offered during all terms of the school year, meaning spring, summer, and fall. You just have to meet the requirements, deadlines, etc. I won't go into all of this. You can read this, and this will be attached, but I did include many of the pros and cons that experts consider when they discuss dual enrollment. This is an opinion article. Each person needs to weigh it with their parent, with their family, but make sure that you do, because I do need to say that dual enrollment requires a certain amount of independence and maturity. And it's set up that way purposely because even though Shawana Cox may have a brain capacity of Einstein, I'll give myself that. And but I may have the maturity level of a sixth grader. I'll also give myself that. So if my maturity level isn't there, no matter what the work is, I'm expected to do things independently. For example, some of the students, when it comes to choosing their classes, they'll say, "Oh, I talked to Dr. Cox," when they're at the college, and the colleges, who is Dr. Cox? They don't know me. They expect the student may be thinking, "Oh, I've already given my told Dr. Cox I'm interested in this." When I went to the dual enrollment director, and they're like, "That has nothing to do with us. You need to register at our school." So again, that's what I mean when I talk about maturity level. So consider that for your student as well. Also, dual enrollment could be considered cost effective. The credits transfer to state schools, builds confidence, etc. One of the things that I think is a neat benefit that many students enjoy is that it may increase your GPA weight. For example, if you take a class in a regular, if you take a class and it's just a regular class, an A is worth 4 quality points. Whereas if you take a dual enrollment class here in the DeKalb County School District, the class is weighted on a 5 point scale. So an A is a 5 point scale, a B is a 4 point scale, etc. So, so it's weighted more than honors or accelerated classes, but it is weighted the same as AP classes and IB classes, if you know what those are. Best practices. Review this presentation, get started early researching, follow steps outlined in the presentation, ask questions after researching the process, make a family decision, determine if you have the level of maturity for dual enrollment. And then very important notes, parents and students are responsible for completing the entire process. Transportation must be provided by the family. School does not provide transportation. Dual enrollment classes are taken away from the school, even if they're online. Students cannot remain on campus to take classes, and Do not add nor drop courses without discussing with the dual enrollment coordinator at your school. Your school coordinator is Dr. Cox. Courses will not be paid for if the coordinator does not approve them. The coordinator will follow Georgia Student Finance Commission rules regarding funding. So again, thank you, parents. And students, I do want to bring you back to the main website, which is basically dual enrollment, starting with eligibility, etc. After you've gone through the process, and it is good for you to go through the process with your child because it does let you know how they'll feel about college. If they don't like this process and they're stressed about this process, you may want to consider delaying dual enrollment to the summertime. They may want to decide if they want to do it during the summer because teachers at the high school are not expected to understand your child is doing dual enrollment classes. What they're saying is, I can handle dual enrollment, college and high school at the same time. And we've had great success. I'll say that the students tend to do well. When they say they want to do it, they really do well. They follow the process. And I'm proud of them. I'm very, very proud of that. And so that's why I decided to do this video because they come all the time. And I wish I had all the time in the world to go over dual enrollment, but I don't. So here's the video. Again, parents, congratulations on thinking about this process with your students and engaging in it. After you've done, everything and gone through the process, contact me. You'll have to contact me soon enough anyway, so I can explain any questions or things that you may have questions about as you go through the process. But most people usually don't have to talk to me until they get to the end because it's kind of detailed. So thank you all. Enjoy the rest of this school semester, and I will talk to you soon.